Sly K Loco. Today is going to be a great day because, as you should be knowing, we got Mr. Grow It on today. Bam, 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 bam. We're going to be talking cannabis. We're going to be talking about how, what he does in his grows. What up, Pete Chill Cultivar? What's crack-a-lactin'? Mr. Grow It, how you doing there, sir? Everybody, you already know we're going to be talking about what Mr. Grow It does nowadays. If you haven't been following him, he has a YouTube page that you need to be checking out. He's got I think it's about 100,000 followers on there. He has a book written out. He has he's sponsored by AC Infinity. He's a real deal. Hey, how's it going, Chris? How you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Pretty good, man. How's your day?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Just getting it kind of going here. I'm on the Pacific time, so it's 11 a.m. my time here. So it's still the morning for me.
Yeah. I'm an early bird. I get up about 5 o'clock, so I get, I've been having my day going. So we got about 20 questions here, and we're going to do this in the interview status and just let it go with the flow, huh?
Yeah, sounds good to me, man.
Actually, and I was thinking right here, I should probably try to send this out to everybody, too, before we get started. So I was telling everybody right now about your book that you have out there on Amazon.
Beginner book. I don't know how much you said about it or not, but it's called 7 Steps to Grow Cannabis. It's a beginner grow book, really for the bare bones beginners, like goes over the basics, information you need in order to get through the grow for the first time. So that was first released back in 2016, first version, and then it was revised a couple times, and now we're on version 3, which was released back in 2020. So
nice.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's on my website. So a lot of people have picked it up and gotten a lot of value out of it. So
yeah, I was supposed to buy it back in 2016 when it first came out. That's when I started watching. You. It was about that time.
Wow.
And so I've been watching for a minute, so I know all about that. But let's start this. So the first question that I ask everybody, I just wanted to know, where did you get your name from?
Well, I had another YouTube channel called Just Grow It.
Okay.
And that actually got terminated. I started uploading YouTube videos back in 2015.
Okay.
And that was the name of the first channel. And that channel, I wasn't sure. Like, there was a period of time where I thought I was going to have to stop growing. So I actually converted the channel over to a community channel. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with what community channels are, but basically it's people will submit in their videos to get featured on the channel.
Okay.
And so that turned into a community channel then, and I was able to start growing again. And then instead of just taking the channel back, everyone was so used to seeing a whole bunch of videos, instead of just taking the channel back and then just being my videos, I had to think of a different name. So kind of went with Just Grow It. It was kind of Mr. Grow It. So that's really where it came from.
Well, it's kind of like on the keep it simple, stupid. Like, it's a simple name, but it really works.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, next question. How long have you been growing for?
Since 2010. So 13 years now. Yeah.
Okay, so you were growing for 6 years before you started all the writing books and everything and getting into the YouTube? Nice.
Yeah, I've started, I'm originally from Massachusetts. So born and raised out in Massachusetts. And I had people out there, friends that grew, and kind of just watching them grow first, and then taking my first attempt at it in 2010. I really had my first successful grow. I had failed attempts before then, which I don't really consider that the start of growing, but 2010 is really when I was successful, for the first time.
Yeah, I like to count my my first grows, even though they didn't come out right. Yeah. It was one of those learning experiences that you have to go through to become a good grower, I feel like.
You're
in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to count that, it was way when I was like 15. I mean, I was had just bag seed, and went deep into the woods with me and my buddy, and we're like, oh, there's some sunshine coming down right here, and there's a stream right here, and then we know it needs water, we know it needs sun, so let's plant some seeds there.
Yeah.
Leave, show up like 3 or 4 months later, and it's like just tall, spindly plants. We had no idea what we were doing, I had no idea. It was probably still in the veg stage, because like I don't remember seeing like pollen sacs or anything like that, or flowers. So we just abandoned the grow after that, and I didn't pick things up until many years later. So
yeah, and that point, you don't know like if you're what it's like to be in flower. You don't know what the buds are supposed to look like. You don't know, you just don't know. My first grow, we had this one little plant, and baby, could you stop that? We had one little plant, and we only got one nug at the top of it, but that one little nug, shit, we smoked it. We tried it.
Reap the rewards, right?
Yeah, hey, you got to get somewhere. You got to start somewhere. So, why did you start growing?
Really just wanted to kind of save money. You know what I mean? I was tired of spending all this money on, different dealers and stuff like that, and people were unreliable. And it's like, well, I know this can be grown, right? So let me take a crack at it. I had friends doing it successfully, so I was like, I'm going to take a crack at it. This is back where it was, 2010 in Massachusetts. It's illegal still, right? Statute of limitations, right? So we're good now. But really, it's just to start to save money mostly. And I was doing the same thing over and over again for the first 6 years. If it's not broke, why try to fix it, right? So I was using Fox Farm soil, Fox Farm nutrients for the first 6 years. Then I really got into YouTube and found out that there are many different ways to grow the plant, and that kind of excited me and allowed me to try out different things. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I think it's amazing how many different variables there are in growing this cannabis. Like, there's so many different ways, and like the way I like to put it is like people aren't necessarily going to get the same results. I mean, you can do a bunch of stuff, but your environment could be different. Your budget could be different. There's just so many different variables in there. And to be able to make an exact copy of somebody else's grow, I don't think it's possible.
No, I mean, you take two different clones, and separate them, two different environments. They're gonna look different,
Yeah, they'll look different. They'll grow different. Yeah, it's crazy. And like I like about clones is if you take a clone, you'll start to get the characteristics of the mother and the father down the lineage if you keep cloning it. And that's what I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. For our next question, what feed are you using nowadays?
Past several years, it's just been organic, all natural amendments. I used Build a Soil Craft Blend, which is kind of like an all-in-one organic fertilizer. I used that for many, many years. Probably, I won't say many, many years, but like 3 years. And that has been working out great. I mean, it's so easy to just do an initial amending of that fertilizer into the soil. Then every 30 days after, do a top dressing. And you know what I mean? You're only really doing a top dressing before flipping to flower and like 30 days in most of the time, unless you have a longer flowering cultivar. Then you might need to do one more top dressing after that. But it kind of made things, real simple. And then I switched over from trying out Kiss Organics. They have a nutrient blend called the Nutrient Pack. Shout out Tad Hussey. He sent me over his fertilizer. He's like, give it a try. It's similar to Craft Blend, but he believes it's better than Craft Blend. I'm like, I'll try it out. And then it's been fantastic. I just completed 2 plants, just harvested 2 plants that look beautiful the whole way through. And I've got 2 more plants growing that I'm going to be harvesting here soon. And they look great.
Yeah, I'm switching over to organic amendments also. I've been using General Hydroponic for about 4 years. And I was using General Hydroponic and Dutch Pro Nutrients. Okay. Well, that was going to be my other question was, do you know what happened to Dutch Pro Nutrients? Because I remember you were using them too. Right?
Yeah. I mean, that's a kind of a sad story that happened to them. They wanted to expand to the U.S., right? So they ended up hitting up me and like so many other content creators, and they're like, okay, let's partner with you.
Rob and everybody, right?
Yeah, and they wanted to partner with us. So we tried out the nutrients first, then went ahead and partnered with them. And nothing against their nutrients or anything like that. It's really a leadership thing. The owner's son, his name was Rico. I remember. He took over the U.S. and he was in control of just everything operational wise, even like the marketing side and so on and so forth. And Rico's dad didn't agree with, either didn't see the growth or didn't agree with his approach with the ad spending or the marketing techniques that he used. And there was a falling out between father and son.
Oh, really?
So Rico left the company. He no longer even works for the company anymore. He's off doing something else, completely unrelated to horticulture, I believe. I haven't actually talked to him since then. I think Robin Pinges might have talked to him. But yeah, that's kind of a separation. We all got an email one day out of nowhere, and it's like we no longer want to partner with you, so on and so forth. So we took that as, okay, you don't want us promoting you anymore at all. So it's like, yeah, they just completely cut everybody off in the U.S. So I don't know if they like backing out of the U.S. entirely or what, but yeah, Dutch Pro is big over in Europe, of course. But
and they still are. Okay, good.
yeah,
Okay, well,
yeah.
at least they still got that market over there, and they can do the business. I was talking with Rico also around that time. I was shooting him messages and asking about the product, and he was explaining a lot. I watched his YouTube about explaining what was going on in the plants and everything, and I thought he was a really good guy. And I thought like they should have kept it there. It was just, I think it was when they got into the politics, or he made a thing about the American politics, and it just went, sideways.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. And
I didn't hear about that.
yeah, because I don't know, it was a little weird. I sent him a message and I was like, "Yo, I'm sorry for all that." And he was like, "Yeah, you guys are real divided over there." I'm like, "Yeah, a little bit, right?" At that time, we were a little bit divided.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, let's move on. So, are you doing photo periods or auto flowers nowadays?
I do photos. Yeah, I've done both. I've probably grown maybe about 24 autoflowers. That's it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I have much more experience growing the photo period, and I prefer photo period. I mean, it's
and
you just got more control.
You keep yours real small. Your photo period is pretty short, right?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, some plants. I mean, sometimes it's so easy to get out of control, you know what I mean? With the growth. You never know how the stretch is going to happen, right? I mean, good example is I'm growing Hades Throne by Zaza Genetics right now. And I didn't even know it was like a 12-week flowering, I think is what he said on it. So like the longer flowering strains, you're going to have like a longer stretch period as well, right? So I put the flower, and I'm thinking it's going to stay small. All of a sudden, 4 weeks of stretch, you know what I mean? It just blows up out of control. So yeah, this round isn't really small plants, but yeah, there's a period of time where I'm aiming for smaller plants. If I can get 2 to 3 ounces yield per plant, I grow all different kind of cultivars. I'll have a good variety because I just grow just for myself, personal stash. I like having a variety.
Good. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, personally, I'm dealing with a plant that I had gotten, genetics I had gotten from Oregon, and I put it in her 7-gallon pot, and she has blown up. She's about 6 foot tall, and the stretch happened, and I wasn't ready for that stretch. I vegged her out for way too long. And so now I just got this one plant in a whole 4x4 tent. Nice. But she is a monster.
Yeah, it's funny how things can kind of get out of control there, what I mean, as far as growth. Like you talk about variables, I mean, that's one major one that we don't really talk a whole lot about is like that stretch and how that stretch period can be a big variable for you. And if you have space constraints, right, you might have to be, cutting branches off or bending branches down in order to make sure it stays in that space and doesn't overgrow the space,
Yeah, I'm guilty of cutting the branches off. I've done that before. I'm sorry. So what lights are you using nowadays?
I have 2 of the Vipaspectra XS 1500 Pros, and I have 2. I have 1 of the Evo 3 by AC Infinity.
Okay.
And then I have 2 T22s of the AC Infinity. It's like the Halo ones.
Yeah. Those connect to the controllers, right?
Yeah. So right now, like, I have a 2x4 and a 4x4. In my 4x4, I have the 2 XS 1500s, the Vipaspectras, because those are each for 2x2 space. Okay. And then on the other side of the tent, I have the Evo 3, which is for a 2x4. So, yeah, they're working out pretty good so far. I'm liking all of them. So, I know Vipaspectra is one of those companies where they've come a long way. I'm not sure how much you've been following them for, but I have back to like 2015, 2016, 2017 even. And they had the Blurple, and they've one of the companies that have just gotten better over the years. And a lot of people say that this XS 1500 is one of the best out there right now for a 2x2, and it's affordable as well. I think you can get it for around $100, so that's not bad.
Yeah, $100, huh? Well, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's a good price nowadays. And it'll get you to flower or through flower and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty good. That's actually really
Yeah.
good. And that's really nice that the technology has been, moving along so quick in the LEDs around that these lights are just getting better. They're just getting
Yeah.
cheaper. They're just coming out stronger, and sometimes you don't even need that strong of a light.
Yep.
You know about I think it's VPN or
PD.
PPTs. There you go. That, yeah. And that's just, for those who don't know, that's as much light as the plant can take, uptake to make the energy and everything that it needs. And you don't need like crazy amount of light. You just need the perfect amount. But I don't know. It depends on something.
You're talking about PPFD?
There you go. PPFD. Yeah, the lighting,
Yep.
the photons, right? Yeah,
Yep.
there you go. Okay, so what we already talked about soil, right? What soil are you using?
No, I'm using I've been reusing the soil now for 6 grows, I believe. I believe on my 6th grow, if I'm not mistaken, or 5th grow. And
Really?
yeah, the initial blend is just Foxfire Motion Forest soil. So it's something I used for many, many years, and I still use it whenever I need to buy, bag soil or whatever. But
You just amend it with the dry. You just amend it with the dry amendment and keep it going. Wow.
Yep, just started out with the Foxfire Motion Forest and just kept it with the Build a Soil Craft blend, and now I'm using, like I mentioned, the KISS Organics nutrient pack. Just been amending with those, and it's been fine. I know there's some controversy. People are like, well, should be getting soil testing done, and that stuff's expensive, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I've done soil testing before, but as far as doing it consistently every single grow and then only adding in what's needed in the soil, I've been kind of neglecting that and been able to get away with it. So
Okay, so that's what the testing the soil is you're testing it to see what you're missing in the soil?
yeah, you can see what's currently kind of in the soil for as far as nutrition. And then you can get somebody like, there are many consultants out there, but one that comes to mind who's been on my podcast before is Bryant Mason, aka the Soil Doctor. He was on my podcast, and he broke it down. We went over my soil test, and he broke down. He's like, okay, you got this level of this level of this level of this. This is what I would recommend amending in. You know what I mean? So he breaks down each individual amendment and kind of really just talks to you all about the soil and what you need to do in order to kind of get ready for the next grow. So, but I mean, for the soil test, it's like, I think $40 to $60 through Logan Labs. If I'm not mistaken, they might have changed their prices. And then consulting is another $40-$50, could be even more now. I don't know. So, you're looking at $80 to $100 just to kind of understand and, what you need to add into your soil. That doesn't even include buying the individual amendments to then add in, you know what I mean? So it can be costly for somebody like me who's just a small home grower, but like on the commercial side of things, that's like a must for them, as part of their SOP is to every single, not only before they plant into it, but when they're flipping over to flower, they'll do another soil test or even tissue testing as well, to kind of get a more accurate result on what the plant is actually uptaking. Some people do tissue testing and soil testing, kind of compare the results there, but yeah, I've just been fortunate enough to kind of get away with just adding in the blend in a blind fashion, I like to say, and then
just rolling with it.
They've been healthy, yeah.
Good. Well, it's lucky you, man. You're just rolling with it and you're getting good results, right?
Yeah.
And I had a question. So, what does the F mean in pheno hunting? Like the F1, F2s?
Oh, those are different generations for inbreeding.
Okay.
So
for inbreeding.
Yeah, so I'm not the most knowledgeable breeder here. I still consider myself a beginner breeder. I do have one cross that I've been working on for many, many years. But what I've learned is if you take a hybrid strain, like my cross is Chill Out OG. It's a Brisker OG, which is by THC Titan, cross with Pakistan Valley by World of Seeds. The Brisker OG is going to be your hybrid. It's an indica dominant hybrid, and then the Pakistan Valley is actually a land race. So take the pollen. I took the pollen from the Brisker OG, put it onto pollinated the Pakistan Valley, and then the seeds come from that offspring. Those are F1s. Okay. And then you take those seeds, grow them. Pheno hunt. You've got male, female, right? You take the male pollen, pollinate the female. The seeds off of that is
F2?
Yeah, F2.
Okay, all right. And then if you did that again, it would be F3. Again, it would be F4. But that would be So in doing that, your the strains would be stronger because you're picking out the best ones, right? And you're crossing the best ones, the best mother with the best male, right? So you want the best male pollen to go on the best mother to
It's the
get the healthiest plant.
breeder dependent. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Every breeder, you know, you ask the breeder what they're looking for, and you could hear it different from breeder to breeder.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just really the characteristics that you, the breeder, are looking for. You should see down as you go down generations. Now, F1, you're gonna, from my understanding, mostly gonna see from the direct parents. F2 kind of opens up the gene pool, from what
Okay.
I've been told, and that you're gonna see even more characteristics from that genotype. And then it starts to narrow down to your selection F3, F4, F5, and so on and so forth.
All right.
And then if you get down, you know, down to F5, some people will recommend to back cross into one of the parents in order to kind of stabilize it. If you continue to go down, I guess you can see more mutations and stuff. But again, I'm no expert breeder when it comes to this, so I'm probably not the best person to talk about breeding questions.
Well,
But
it's
we got
still
a
some
little bit
good
of knowledge.
information.
A
It's
little
definitely
bit of knowledge.
still some good information, and I really appreciate it because I didn't know what about the Fs. I'm like, okay, well, what is
Yeah.
the F? I don't know
That
what that
stands for
means. But
filial. Somebody mentioned that in the chat here. Filial is what.
Toledo. All right. Cool. Thank you, whoever mentioned that. Thank you. And next question: do you clone? Are you cloning anything right now, or?
I used to, you know, I used to clone often, you know, but no, I haven't been because I don't need to be perpetual, right? I don't need to. I've got enough stash here where I can take probably 3-4 months off if I really wanted to. I'm actually going to be starting a breeding project next because I don't need any flower for myself. So it's like, oh, I'll do a breeding run, you know.
Nice.
But what was your question?
If you
Oh
clone.
yeah. Not really anymore. I used to though.
So you pop seeds now. Nice.
Yeah.
If you have to, if you need to. And I was gonna ask, are you still breeding? But you just said right now that you are gonna start another breed project.
Got a new project, yeah. Still kind of working out in my mind what I want to do here, but definitely going to go into feminized breeding.
Okay.
Fem seeds.
Nice.
Yeah. So something new for me, some fun adventure. You know.
So I heard, but I don't know if this is true, but that feminized seeds come from hermaphrodited plants. Now,
Yeah.
if you're out here.
Get into a controversial topic here, which is kind of a little bit beyond my knowledge and stuff. But yeah, you hear about that. You hear about how, you know, you hear about people saying you shouldn't use feminized beans for breeding because more prone to Hermy tendencies. But yeah, as far as, you know, the hardcore facts on that one, I'm not the best person to ask.
All right, good. Okay, so I just threw that out there. I was like, that's a weird one. I've had a plant Hermy on me at one time, and I just cut it off. And then there was another time that I just cut the whole plant, but somebody had said, hey, man, you should let like a little bit of that grow, get that seed, and then start to, that you would have feminized seeds. And I was like, boom, blown away, because when I first started growing, I didn't want regular seeds. I wanted nothing but the feminized seeds, so I would have a guaranteed female. You know, it just seemed like a waste of time for me to be sitting over here growing plants and not knowing if they were going to be a male or female, you know? So that's why when I started out, I was like feminized all the way.
Yeah. They're very sought after, you know, and that's, I think one of the reasons why I kind of want to get into them is because it seems like they're way more popular than regulars, you know. I get people asking me, like, why even release regulars? You know what I mean? It's like everybody just wants the femmes, but it's like that's not really the case, you know. There's breeders out there that want males, you know, they're hunting male. So there's definitely a market for regulars still, for sure.
Good. All right. Have you ever thought of doing any DWC?
Yeah, I've thought about it. It's something I want to get into, but just haven't really ventured into that. I do have concerns, you know what I mean? I'm a very hot climate. It's easy for my grow room to be 80 degrees. You know, I mean, I do add cooling and stuff like that, but if the reservoir temp is too high, you could run into issues, right? Like pathogens in the root zones and stuff like that. So like, that's just what I'm worried about, but I just need to do it and then like see if it happens or not. You know what I mean? There's things you can do, obviously water chiller, but then you're adding expense. People do frozen water bottles in the reservoir. So that's like DIY hack you can potentially do. So I just need to venture into it. Particularly, probably it'd be better for me to do it in the wintertime when it's cooler in my grow room naturally. You know what I mean? So then you got to worry about, I guess, making sure the temperature's not too low in the reservoir. So kind of having that balance. But no, I haven't tried it just yet. Need to get into it. Want to get into it. You know, I've seen so many people with great results. A lot of people, I'm sure, that are tuning into this right now do DWC, and they're not going to grow. They're not going to grow any other way because they like it so much. But I think I would.
Somebody in here asked what DWC is. DWC stands for Deep Water Cultivar.
Deep water culture.
Culture, yeah.
Yep.
And that is basically hydroponics. If you just want to throw it out there, you're growing in water.
Yep.
And so that's a whole nother subject that we could go on for a long time, because a lot of people stand by DWC. I got a friend that he specializes in DWC, and he has his plants grow massive.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I grew big plants. No, this guy, he'll get at least like maybe 4 pounds off of one plant.
Wow.
Like, it is insane, the size of his plants. And I was like just blown away. And he uses general hydroponic nutrients too. And I'm just like, wow. But it's a little bit too advanced for me right now. I know if I wanted to, I could do it, but I'm just a little comfortable with my soil grow that I'm doing.
Yeah, I am intrigued by like the precision that you can get out of it, right? You know what I mean? Much more precise feeding versus like organics, right? Where you really don't have that control. The plant's uptaking what it needs. Amendments are breaking down according to the microbes, but with having the nutrients in plant available form and being able to deliver them directly to the roots, I mean, that's a huge benefit on that end.
There's that huge benefit. There's the size of it, the speed of it. They grow faster. You have a lot of ups, but also you have a lot of downs. If anything, like say your water gets too high, you got could open up for pathogens. Things change real quick. Like your plant could die quicker than it would in soil or cocoa. There's their draws. There's their other side.
Yeah.
Just like to everything. You know, you got your ups and downs that there could be, but it's a pretty good system. I think. I like it.
Yeah.
I was thinking of upgrading to a drip system. What drip system do you have, or do you have any advice?
Well, I'm not really like on a drip system where it's like a pump, but I've been using the Blue Mats gravity fed system. So it's just dripping down onto the medium. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Blue Mats at all, or.
No, I was thinking, is it something like the AC Infinity? No, actually, I don't know about the Blue Mats. I think I've watched your video on it, but I hadn't.
Pretty much like a carrot system. You know, they look like carrots is what they are. You stick them down.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I started looking into those. Those are actually pretty cool.
Yeah. It's not bad. So you get the moisture level in the medium where you want it. You know, you could use a digital moisture meter, just eyeball it or whatever. But then, and then you install the carrot system. And then basically as the medium dries out, it releases pressure on the tube, which then drips down onto it. You know what I mean? And then once the medium rehydrates, it kind of closes that tube back up and then prevents that drip from coming down. So it's keeping that consistent moisture level. And I've been using Blue Mats for several years now. You know, I started, even with 3-gallon containers, 5-gallon containers, just using one carrot. On 7-gallon containers and 10-gallon containers. Well, 7-gallon containers, I was doing one carrot on each side. 10-gallon containers, now I have a distribution drippers they have.
Okay.
So you basically have the line continue to kind of go around the pot, and then a distribution dripper on like 4 or 5 different spots, depending on how big of a pot you're growing in. But then you can distribute the moisture across the entire medium. Before, one of the concerns is if you're just dripping on one particular spot, well, then if you're growing organically, the other side of the pot dries out. If you got top dressing amendments in, well, then you're not going to have a moisture on the other side of the pot, and then the microbes aren't going to really break it down and turn it into the usable nutrients of the plants. So yeah, the distribution drippers definitely had helped. But I've also been doing a nutrient well technique where you basically dig down into one spot and then add in the amendments right there to that one spot. Cover it with soil, and then drip down directly onto that one spot. Okay. So, and that's been working out pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, I forgot about the Blue Mats. Yeah. I looked them up and I was like, damn, you know what? That's pretty cool technology. I wanted to try that one. And then I started going down the rabbit hole, looking at all the other ones. And I was like, geez, I got lost there for a second. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because I've just been hand watering. I go in and I've been hand watering for years. But I upgraded my my grow room to where now I have 2 4x4 flower tents. So going in there all the time and keeping up watering it's a little bit. I'm gonna have to get either a blue mat system or a drip system. I'm gonna have to do one of them sooner or later. Because on top of it, I go on vacation, and when you go on vacation and you're not here to watch your plants, either you train the person exactly like you, and even they will get it wrong sometimes, and then you come home and your plants are all out of whack and flower, and I'm sick of dealing with that.
Yeah, the thing with the blue mats, it's great, dude. I left for a whole week before, and then come back and the plants were fine. You know, the only issue now with leaving your plants for long, if they're still growing, they could grow too much, grow into light or whatever, right? So that's kind of a downside. But you can always raise your light and then lower the par. You know, dim it down if you need it, if you want to slow down the growth, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I basically have my blue mats hooked up to a 14-gallon trash barrel. So I just bought it from Lowe's. You know what I mean? It's a white trash barrel, nothing too fancy. Holds up to 14 gallons, and just fill that up, and I don't even need to fill it up all the way, you know, for 1 week, and then make sure everything's good to go. And then a week later, came back and everything's great. So. It's good to be able to leave your plants for a while and not have to worry about that. That was always a concern for me when I was hand watering. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know, the bigger the grow pot you have, depending on the size of the plant, it would last longer than others, depending on how much you drench the soil. You know, but I would leave for long weekends and like drench the soil before I leave, and then come back, and then it'd be perfect timing to where I would need a watering. But of course, it's going to, again, depend on pot size and plant size and all that stuff. It's always a gamble, right? You want to be able to have a vacation and go away, but we are kind of tied down to our plants, you know, on that avenue.
Yep. And I have this guy, my trimmer that I've been training to try to start to take over for when I'm gone, and he overwatered the plants, and he didn't know because they got too dry. And you know, when you water it and they run off of the plant, off the soil, like it ran off, and he didn't know what to do, and there was a big flood. And I was like, man, that was beginner day. That's 101 for me. Or like, God, man, I got over that problem a long time ago. But anyways, so do you LST?
Low stress chain, yeah, yep, I do.
Yeah.
Really depends on how the plant is growing. You know what I mean?
Do you still just like push over the plant, or are you doing Pigeon's technique where you break the membrane?
No, I haven't done Pigeon's technique to where he's literally every single branch. He is super cropping, or breaking the cell membrane, right? No, I haven't actually ventured into that. I mean, I understand why he does it, and it seems like it would be valuable. It's just something I haven't really ventured into. I usually just top it like the 4th or the 5th node.
Okay.
And then after that, depending on the cultivar, right? Some like, you know, the closer internodes, slower grower type ones, maybe I won't top. I'll just bend the main branch down and then kind of bend branches from there. So it really depends on the cultivar and how the plant's growing. But I feel like most plants, I'm topping at the 4th or the 5th node. Okay. And then the side branches are what I'm tying down to the side of the pot as they continue to grow up, kind of tucking them down and so forth.
You're tying down.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's good. Yeah, that works too. And what is your optimal veg time, do you think, for like, I know it depends on the cultivar, but like we all have like me, I don't do just 4 weeks. Like I can't ever just do 4. I have to do at least 6 weeks, at least. And my plants are pretty good at that. What do you think?
I mean, it depends on the cultivar, depends on how big of a plant I'm trying to grow. But if I'm trying to keep things small, I'd love to do a goal would be 30-day veg and then flip to flower. Now, and oftentimes I don't get there, right? Because like some plants are growing faster than others, and maybe some, just for a variety of different reasons, I'll go longer than the 30 days. But I've had many plants where I just flip to flower after 30 days, and they've turned out to get 3-4+ ounces per plant. So, just sometimes you just have those cultivars that grow, and you have the right conditions and the right nutrition and all that stuff. Everything's just dialed in to where I'm able to get away with that. But oftentimes I'm doing 40 days, 40, sometimes creeping upward to 50 days. And that's for medium-sized plants, you know what I mean? The the biggest plant I'm growing, because I'm indoors in a tent, I'm really only growing 4 or 5 foot plants at the max. You know what I mean? I try to keep it lower than that. It's try to keep them in control, especially since I'm running for 4, sometimes 5 plants in a 4x4.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Nice. What is your optimal trichome color for harvest? Do you go for very like really amber, or what do you look for?
Mostly cloudy. Yeah, mostly just
Cloudy.
making sure everything's cloudy, and then the
Okay.
sprinkle of amber on there. That's when I
Okay.
like to pull it, and then from there I'll harvest, and then dry cure.
Dry cure, and that's my next question. How long do you dry for? And are you using the automatic dryer, or are you hanging?
I switched over. I used to hang dry. Now I got that CannaConvos, which you can't really
Yeah.
see in the background there,
How's
but
that working?
fantastic. It couldn't be. We talked about being hands off and being able to leave on vacation, stuff like that. You can I have that luxury now to be able
Oh,
to leave, right?
lucky
Just
you.
happened last weekend. I harvested my plants right before I left for the weekend, and
Wow.
hands off. So now I know some people are able to achieve that drying in a dry tent and so on and so forth, but things have been going pretty good. It's usually dry in about, I don't know, 4 to 6 days, sometimes 7 days, because it brings it right down to where it needs to be and kind of stabilizes from there. So not too fast of a dry. And, you can set these conditions to really almost whatever temperature and humidity that you want.
Really?
Pretty much. I mean, within reasonable, right? I mean, if you're trying to go under 60 degrees, way under 60 degrees Fahrenheit,
Yeah.
you're not going to achieve that. I know the ambient room temperature is also going to kind of depend on that as well. But yeah, for the most part, I'm able to achieve between 60, 65 Fahrenheit.
Ah.
I have it set to, I think, 62 or 63 right now.
Okay.
And then as far as percentage, around 60%.
60%? Okay.
Yeah, 60.
What about that?
Creeps up to 62, you know what I mean? Sometimes down to 58, you know what I mean? It can't, well, it doesn't really, it's pretty stable here with this, but when I was tent growing, that's kind of my acceptable range,
Yeah,
tent
it's
drying.
about 60, 58. Yeah, personally, I like 58%. It seems pretty, that's where I like it.
Yeah.
And I like to keep it around 60, 62, 63. If it's hard to keep those temps, man, those drying temps, that's a hard one. That's why what you have is perfect, because, you could get those temps and the humidity to the perfect, to where you want it, the range that you want it. And when you're doing it in a tent, it is just, the variables start to come in, If it's real dry outside, if it's like where I'm at, I'm here in Washington, and on the other side of Washington, because I'm not on the west side, I'm on the east side. And over here, we get desert.
Yeah.
And it's 100 and 110, 100 degrees regularly in the summertime with like 10% humidity. So I tried to grow out in my garage for like one of the grows and dry out there. No, it dried up in like 2 days. It was really bad. It was not good. I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
And
you get a bunch of people that are like, oh, yeah, I can keep it steady at 60, and I don't need any device that's going to, that I have to spend money on in order to get there. And that's fantastic if you can get it. But I feel like the majority of growers out there that are drying are going to see some swings in temperature and or humidity, you know what I mean? And yeah, with this CannaConvos, it's been very steady for me. And like I said, it's been kind of hands off. I harvested, just cut off the main leaves, then put it into there, and then came back from the weekend. It's still going strong, it's fine. It's stable. So it's peace of mind. Now the downside is the price. I don't know if you heard about the price on this thing, but
I think I looked at it. It was I can't remember how much it was.
$1,600 for this, and so that's everybody's biggest gripe.
It's an investment. If I was gonna tell my wife anything, I'd be like, "It's an investment, babe. It's an investment."
Yeah, people swear it's worth it. The people that have the CannaConvos, they love it. They're like, "Oh, it's definitely worth the money." But the people who don't have it, they're just like, "Oh, I don't want to spend the money." I bet if it was cheaper, you get a lot more people to spend it. A lot more people would be talking positively about it. Be a lot more sales and so on and so forth. So I don't know what I question why the price is where it is, and it seems a little high to me as well.
Well, obviously, I think it's got to be like it's one of the first ones, right? It's the beginning of this new God, I'm blanking on the words. The new product, right? And so once a few of them start to come out, and other companies get in, and then it gets another generation, it starts to get cheaper. And on top of it, we all need to start using them. Because if they figure out that we all want them, then they'll be like, oh, okay, we need to start making them cheaper so people can afford them and all that. I'm thinking about getting one ship because, oh, and also, how much do they hold?
Wet capacity of 2.2 pounds.
Oh,
so
okay.
Not too bad. And obviously that's going to dry and you're going to lose what, 75-ish% of the weight, you know, because that dries out. So,
okay.
But yeah, I harvested a plant, pretty much looked like everything was filled. And then a couple days later, you go again, and things have obviously the buds have shrunk down. So I made space for my next plant. So scattered harvests are certainly going to be a must.
All right, and, so you can do multiple of them.
I have to. I have now with this. I have to. You know, there's no harvesting 4 plants at once and fitting them all in here. It's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah, at that point, I would bust out the tent and go back to tent drying if I was harvesting. But moving forward, I'm just going to try to aim for the scattered harvests so I can fit them all. You know, fit each plant in. You know, at a time.
Yeah, so, nice.
Somebody mentioned in the chat, they're like, "Oh, well, what if the electricity goes out?" Good call out. But same thing with your drying in a dry tent, right? You've got fan going, you've got humidifier, dehumidifier, all that will go too. So it's, I don't know, it's kind of a wash. And one thing I think about is cooling is the cost of cooling. You know, particularly here in the summertime, I have to have my central AC going on. Some people have their central AC, some people have a portable air conditioner, which uses up a ton of watts. Or some people use like a mini split in order to cool their grow space. But I imagine that that's going to be kind of more expensive than the 70 watts here. You know, you do the math on the 70 watts, you're looking at $6-7 a month, depending on kind of what you spend for electricity, which isn't bad. You know, it's probably going to be cheaper than running cooling with a tent dry setup. You know, so.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Down the line, looks like it'll probably pay for itself.
I think so. I made the investment. Figured I'd try it out. So
I don't think I'm gonna too. I'm gonna have to. I gotta upgrade everything. I gotta get a trim bowl. I don't know about trim bowls yet because the trimming is one of the things that we need to figure out as growers. We need to figure out an easier way to hand trim, but keep it fast, efficient. Oh man, there's just too many variables in that one.
What do you think about the bowl trimmer?
I haven't used one yet. I've used I had an outside harvest and I took the whole harvest to a friend of mine that had one of the big rotary trimmers, right? And it trimmed everything up. I liked it. The only thing I did not like is I could smell the trichomes coming off of it. You could just smell everything from it tumbling, and it's dry, so anything that you do to it, the trichomes are going to fall off. Yeah. And so it's the smell of all that trichomes just told me that it's degrading from the bud. So, you know, hand trim is that's the only way, man. It's the only way that I found that keeps the trichomes intact, doesn't manhandle the bud too much, and it does the job. It's too much time, and it takes a lot of energy on your hands. You can get carpal tunnel. I know my hands are killing me now from trimming and playing video games and all this stuff. So, and that's why I had to get a crew. So now I have a crew of other people to do it, but I'm still in there managing. But I'm like, oh man, we need to figure out something.
Well, Pigeon swears by that bowl trimmer. I know you have
really,
and you're familiar. Man, he swears by it. He makes me want to try one.
Really?
I know that's another thing. There's a lot of controversy about. Oh, it's knocking off trichomes and it's destroying buds. I guess like if you have like larvae buds, it's not going to be a good machine for it. If you're on the denser side of things, it's better for it. Right. But yeah, it's another thing I haven't tried either. But I think I'm going to try it because he's like just talking up and down how positive it is. It's like, you know, he gets through pounds like so quickly, you know what I mean? Just using the bowl trimmer. So like efficiency wise, it's like crazy, you know?
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to buy one. And they're not even that expensive. I mean, they're only 100 and something bucks for a 16-inch, I think it is, which is, it'd take you a little bit longer to get through your harvest, but if it's saving your hands and you don't need so many people in to do it, then it might be worth a try.
Yeah,
And like
I'd
I
like to
said,
see testing. It would be cool to see like somebody test it. You know what I mean? Okay, there's one that we hand trimmed. Didn't go through a bowl trimmer. Here's the terpenes and cannabinoids. There's one we put through a bowl trimmer. You know, what is that difference? Is it drastic? Or is it like very minimal? Or is there no difference? We don't even know. Studies haven't been done. So like, yeah, people will talk about, oh no, it's knocking off trichome, stuff like that. Well, show me the testing, you know?
Yeah. We need testing for all this stuff, man.
All
these little questions. All these bro what is it? Bro knowledge, bro
science.
Bro science, there you go. All this bro science needs to be actually tested so we can figure it out and be like, you know what, I got a bro science that needs to be tested. Well, let's put it to the test.
Right.
That could be a show.
I know.
So what do you cure in? Do you cure in jars or do you use buckets or anything like that?
I used to use the mason jars, used to use sea vaults, grow bags. I used it for a very short period of time because grow bags were just coming out. And then I switched over to the CannaConvos. So I just have storage, and that's curing and storage is just the CannaConvos. So you just leave it in there and hands off, no burping, no nothing. So
wow. Have you heard of burp lids?
I've heard of them, vaguely familiar with them.
Yeah, I use them. They're pretty nice. Basically it's the same technology that you would do with wine when you plug it and then you just suck out all the air. That's all it is. And then you let a little bit more air in. It has a little vent where you can and it makes a hissing noise, so you know that the good air goes in. And so yeah, those work pretty good. We only got 15 minutes left, so we're gonna knock out these last questions.
All right.
And then we're gonna try to plug all the sponsors and everything too. Huh?
All right.
Oh, now there was that question. Have you heard about burp lid? All right. So in your opinion, what do you think is the future of the cannabis industry? As in the innovations, as we were talking, you're one of the most innovative people out here. Like you got some of the nice upgraded stuff, and you doing a lot of hands-on. I think the future is hands-on or hands-off.
Agreed. Yeah, more automation when it comes to growing. Automation. I mean, we're seeing AC Infinity just automate everything. You know what I mean, from the controller and having all these different components hooked up to it. I had my humidifier hooked up to it. You know what I mean? So it's controlling the humidity much better than anything I've ever used. Yeah, I think it's going to get more automated. I think there's going to be more of these companies, like you're seeing like the Spider Farmers and the Mars Hydros. They're now having more smart features to try to mimic AC Infinity. As far as like sales and stuff, I think we're seeing things kind of come like flatline and type stuff, like just kind of be steady and not really much growth. I know last year and the year before, I mean, companies are feeling pain. There's companies that went out of business because business just dropped down. I think as things are more and more legal, we should see kind of sales ramp up and more people kind of get into home growing and stuff like that. But I think we're not really seeing many people kind of transition over because of the laws still. You know what I mean? I think as we become more and more legal, hopefully at some point it gets descheduled. If not straight up legalized federally, and then home grow allowed, that'd be ideal. But then the market would really take off.
I think once the banks are able to get into it, and we can, the banks could be able to take everybody's money comfortably and not worry about the federal government coming after them or anything like that. And the money can be insured, and then other products can start to get into it, and then it will lead to the legalization. My dream is to be able to walk into the way I walk into the aisle of alcohol in Walmart. We should be able to have a cannabis aisle too, or something, some bongs, papers, I don't care, something. It'd be nice if we could have, different buds in there to smell like an Oregon. Have you been to Oregon?
I haven't. No, I haven't been there.
I haven't been to Oregon. Oh my God, you need to go check out an Oregon dispensary, man.
Yeah.
They are the best. They let you smell the buds. You can see how dense the buds are. And just being able to smell the bud before you buy it is amazing, brother. I'm telling you. It is because I've been to dispensaries all over, and they, you get you got to know what you want before you go in there. So you want, okay, I want a hybrid, I want top shelf, I want this, I want a pre-roll, whoopity whoop, right? Well, over here in Oregon, you can walk in and be like, well, I want this, but here you go. They crack it open, here you go, let you smell the whole thing. And that's like the Triple Crown that I'm growing. I got to smell that one before I got to buy the clone. And that was like the best thing ever.
That's awesome.
I was like, oh, so amazing. So I highly advise that you go over to Oregon and go check out their dispensaries because they have got it figured out.
I'll definitely have to plan a trip to get out there. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So just wanted to let you know that you're killing it. As always, you've been killing it for a long time. I really enjoy your videos. I think everybody out there does too. All my new followers that should be following me should know Mr. Grow It. If you don't know Mr. Grow It, go check out his videos, man. This guy has a lot of videos out there and a lot of knowledge. And I got my inspiration from you for trying to spread the information of cannabis, This information needs to be out there, and there's a lot of it. There's a lot of different stuff that everybody needs to know, and just we're not trying to say, hey, you need to grow like this. We're just trying to say, hey, this is how you grow. Mm-hmm. This is different ways to grow and everything like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for doing what you're doing, man. I spread the knowledge, and thanks for having me on as well. I appreciate it, dude. This is cool.
Thank you. Actually, when I started this, I didn't think I would go so easy. It just feels easy when you do something you love, right? Because I got you, I got Pigeons, you, and now I got Rob booked too. So I got the whole From the Stash crew booked, and we're gonna be knocking that out. And then I got some celebrities booked too. So we're gonna be talking everything on here. We're gonna be moving it to the next level. That's what I'm gonna try to do. And thank you. Wanted to check and see, did you want to plug the sponsors?
Plug sponsors?
Any of your sponsors, any AC Infinity, anybody that you're doing anything with?
Yeah, I mean, AC Infinity, they're a sponsor of the channel. They've been a sponsor of my podcast and also my 2 YouTube channels. So definitely got to give a big shout out to them. As far as other sponsors, I've worked with like the Mars Hydros and Spider Farmer. Sometimes they are hit me up wanting some promo and stuff like that, and they've got some good products. They've gotten better and better over the years, so big shout out to them. Happy Hydro, if you are on the East Coast at all, hydroponic store, if you're in need of that, search happyhydro.com. Big shout out to Chris and the team over there. I've been working with them for many years, just collaborating on things, and they focus on not only carrying high quality products but their customer service as well. So if you need anything, any hydroponic stuff, shout out to them.
Good. All right. And as for me, I'm sponsored by High Photon Flux LEDs. Make sure to go check them out. The link is in my bio. If you wanted to, you could put in Sly aka Loco at checkout and get yourself a couple bucks off. Get yourself the HP 4000. That's what I'm using, and that light is it's amazing. I also have the Spider Farmer SE 5000 too. That's rolling, and that light is killing it. I like Spider Farmer and High Photon Flux. Those lights are great. And that's about it for my questions. I am done. I'm pretty sure. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, sir?
No, I mean, just again, thanks for having me on. If anybody does want to see more from me, you can search YouTube at just search Mr. Grow It. Also, I have a channel called Garden Talk with Mr. Grow, just going to Garden Talk channel. I had a Garden Talk podcast, which is on pause right now, but that's why I interview growers one-on-one and had some great conversations and some amazing people on it over the years. So check that out. I should be hopefully bringing that back before the end of the year, I hope. I'm actually working on writing my second book. And so these next couple months, I'm really hammering down just writing, and hope to have that out. And then once I'm done with that project, I'll go back to the podcast. So, but yeah, check those things out at Mr.Growit on Instagram. That's the only profile I have. There's so many freaking scammers on Instagram. You really have to be careful. I'll never hit you up asking you for money or trying to sell you things. So yeah, just want to warn that. And then at Mr. Growit on Twitter. So, oh, and then from the Stash. Got a shout out. From the Stash is the other podcast I'm on. If you're into podcasts, it's me, Pigeons 420, and then Rob from CannaConvos Lifestyle TV. Every single Thursday, we're on Twitch, twitch.tv/FromTheStash. And we just hang out, do smoke sessions, episodes, and then we have that on YouTube and then all podcast platforms. So really fun with them.
Yeah, they have everything going. Yeah, on the scammers, make sure I also will never send you a message asking you for money or anything like that. Do not fall for these scammers, all right, guys? They see our platform and they see what we're doing and they're like, hey, maybe I could jump on there and try to get somebody, you know? So make sure that you don't fall for it. If there is a giveaway or anything like that on my part, I would announce it personally and I would come to you. And this is the only page I have. I don't have any other pages, all right? There's not a Slight AK Loco 2 or something. Like, that's not me. And speaking on that, I guess that page might have been taken down. So the community came together and they went and reported the one that was trying to scam on mine. So maybe we'll tell everybody on your platform to go in there and make sure to report them and say that they are not the person that they are pretending to be. Okay, make sure to do that, guys. As for, forgot what else I was going to say. Oh, there's somebody in here, Ashley in here was asking if you made any bombs. You make any bombs for pain or anything like that?
Bong?
Yeah, bombs like a rub on.
Oh, like a tincture.
Medicine. Yeah,
No.
yeah, tinctures.
No,
Anything like that?
I've
No?
never got into that, actually.
Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. Well, we'll just leave it at that last question. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Growit. Thank you, Chris. We will have you next time. Hopefully, you'll be able to come on again, and we can do this, huh?
Really cool, man. Thanks again for having me on. This was cool. Chill, laid back. Got a bunch of cool people in the chat and stuff like that. Thanks for positive vibes, man. Hope everyone has a great rest of the day.
All day, man. All day. All right, everybody. Have a good day. We'll see you next time. Next Saturday at about 6 p.m. CannaConvos. All right, guys. Later. Bye.